Hello Guardians! Haven't seen anybody touch on this topic in a while, but with the recent nerfs coming in the season of Opulence, it may become somewhat relevant. Since Bungie hasn't made any statements regarding heavy ammo economy in the latest TWAB, I think it is about time to bring the community's attention back to it. And honestly, it's not really that bad. This whole situation with a random drop can be described as inconsistently annoying. By that I mean, it's not breaking the game, but sometimes it is game-defying aspect. And with all its randomness, it starts to be really annoying when you don't have a reliable source or a way to generate heavy consistently. Sure, when you're running with a full fire team in a raid, nightfall or a gambit, it's negligible. But in order to create more fair and competitive content for Destiny in the future, Bungie has to consider that the lucky, heavy ammo drops might have more impact on the game mechanics than they think they do. Let's take Gambit for example. The only consistent way to get heavy in a Gambit game is to take it from this heavy dispenser, and everybody knows that only Invader takes it, and if you take this heavy ammo brick, you're an asshole. Unless the Invader got lucky and had a heavy brick drop from the first wave. Which means that from the very first wave and until the end of the match, RNG decides on how much heavy your team will have, which not only will be used against Primeval and other enemies, but also will give you an advantage against the enemy invader. And don't get me wrong, you can outplay people as an invader by using long range weapons, but when you're against a well-coordinated 4-stack where everybody's running hammerheads and 1k voices, loaded and pointed at you, let's say you won't have much fun invading. Heavy ammo should be a part of your strategy. When both teams are given same amount of heavy, it's only up to them how exactly to utilize it. You can simply give it to Invader, or use it to clear ads, or save it for Primeval fight if your Invader's super is charged or he's confident enough about his sniper skills. This brings another layer of tactic to your regular Gambit Prime match. You'll have to rely on all resources available to your team and manage to synchronize them well. To put it simple, Gambit will reward smart plays. While random heavy will affect your Gambit match regardless of your strategy, that doesn't sound competitive and fair to me, honestly. Same goes for the raids. Sure, right now we're so much over-leveled for all encounters that we can simply end any fight with a single burst of heavy on the first damage phase, but for the early days of the raid, and especially for day 1 race, it is essential to have heavy ammo and use it smartly in combination with your energy weapons and abilities. Whisper of the Worm played a huge role during day 1 Last Wish raid due to its consistency and damage output, and it seemed like the whole raid was designed around that weapon. Literally, for every boss encounter, it was perfect, maybe even too perfect, and that's why Bungie wants to bring it down a notch. But with any other heavy weapon, the entire day 1 race would turn into a heavy ammo hunt during almost every single fight. You might say, oh, if you want heavy, how about you put on some heavy ammo finder? Good point. Except it's still completely based in RNG. At the beginning of the Forsaken, this trait seemed like it wasn't working at all. After a few months, Bungie addressed that issue and, well, I think people kind of forgot about it. Players have done a lot of research and investigation on that, and still I don't think that anybody has a solid proof of exactly how much it benefits you right now. And either way, you'll still be relying on RNG heavy to drop. It's not like you get a guaranteed heavy break every 5, 10, 20 enemies you kill. You still might get 3 heavy breaks in a row from few red bar vandals that you kill with your primary, or not get a single heavy to drop after you clear a room full of elites and yellow bar enemies. The thing is that Bungie didn't know how to make heavy ammo management more efficient and effective in Forsaken, and they went back to Destiny 1 idea. Seems like nobody had problems with that. This way, they wanted to make sure that players won't be constantly swimming in purple breaks and run with their heavies out all the time. Makes sense. But man, tables turn when you get your hands on the raid armaments. You know what? Before armaments, I was kinda okay with that whole random heavy stuff, but with them, you can dump all those ideas of ammo economy and smart heavy usage in the trash bin. From this moment, you're on top of the world, if you're fighting Taken or Fallens, of course. You'll be covered in heavy bricks and they will never run out. You'll be stuck in your magazine like crazy, and no amount of ammo reserves on your armor will be able to contain the flow of that purple stuff. And all you need to do is to kill any Taken or Fallen enemy with your nade. So you get the idea. One mod that has a very rare chance to drop completely changes your perception of heavy economy from stingy holding to your one precious heavy brick that you found on a dirty floor to the point when you have more heavy than you know what to do with. And I know that there are many who don't see that as a problem, as those mods are pretty fun to use. They make Gambit a little more annoying when you hear
Fallen on the horizon.
And they might be required for 2-man Insurrection Prime in the future after Whisper gets nerfed. And that's about it. So why am I bringing this up? Well, those mods actually serve as a great example of how to positively affect current heavy ammo economy in Destiny 2. As you might know, Reckoning Gear has a very extremely rare chance to roll with minor, major, and boss resist mod on it. These mods give you resistance buff when you receive damage from minor, major, boss, enemy respectively. What if we had some mods that could grant you heavy ammo in a similar fashion? Simple example. Killing a major enemy with your energy weapon has a chance to drop heavy ammo, or killing a major enemy with your super or abilities will guarantee you a heavy ammo drop. Obviously, these are some raw ideas and it would require testing and tuning before implementing it into the game, but I can see that as a direction Bungie might actually take in the future. These kinds of mods will allow them to regulate the amount of heavy we can potentially get during the fight and design encounters accordingly, as well as rewarding players that put effort into destroying strong enemies like ogres in Shurachi encounter or berserkers in Scourge of the Past, while still limiting how much heavy ammo we can generate during the encounters. These mods are also giving us a reliable and consistent way to replenish our power weapon supplies. And finally, last but not least, they should definitely be sold by a vendor for tokens earned in the endgame activities, similar to Leviathan's tokens. And it's probably the easiest and fastest way for Bungie to make PvE content more enjoyable and decrease the amount of RNG involved in general combat. Well, I think it's time to wrap it up. I'm pretty sure you guys out there have much better ideas on how to make more positive changes to PvE aspect of Destiny. I'd love to read it in comments. Thank you very much for watching. Take care, Guardians.